So you need to go through so that's one thing for the website. The second thing is that you need to make sure that you've got privacy policy on your website, and you can get privacy policy. It's always better that you have a lawyer do this for you, just so that you're sure that it's good for a tutoring company. You know, I don't really recommend copying somebody else's because it does need to be checked out by a lawyer just to make sure that you're saying the right things, because you don't know if the other person has checked it out properly with a lawyer. But secondly, you don't even know if that person has special circumstances that they've put into, you know, their privacy policy. So you need to make sure that your privacy policy is online. Your privacy policy would say something like, say your website was called www.xyz.com. It should just say something like /privacy or /privacy policy. And then at the bottom of your website, where it has, you know, your copyright information, so you'd have copyright, you know, and then the copyright sign, 2019 xyz.com. Then you'll have your privacy policy link, a link there in the footer as well. And the same goes for, in some countries, a disclaimer might not be compulsory, because sometimes what some lawyers do is they put the disclaimer inside the privacy policy or inside the terms and conditions, whichever way around. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm just explaining at a high level. You definitely need to get some advice from a lawyer to get the right privacy policy in place, but you definitely need one. And you need your terms and conditions. You know, you need terms and conditions for what you do to be on your website. And your terms and conditions will contain things like what happens if somebody cancels up front, what happens if, you know, how often do you charge, what sort of cancellation policy that you have, and also what, you know, when do they need to pay by, and how long are they paying for up front. It doesn't have to say how much you're charging necessarily, because what you're charging is probably going to be different for certain, you know, certain year groups and certain grades, you know, but it does have to say, you know, like the general things that you want people to know, that you want clients to know up front. It doesn't need to say it. Now, be careful how you word it. You don't want it to scare people away. So you do need a little bit of flexibility around that. And one of the things we do when we do the coaching that we do is that we look at some of these things for you, and we sort of give advice on, as a parent, not as a lawyer, but as a parent, you know, from a people skills point of view, you know, what would parents like, and is your terms and conditions looking too scary, or is it okay from a parent point of view, from a client point of view, and not from a lawyer's point of view, by the way. The other thing you know, so I mentioned the disclaimer. Now, if you're going to be doing anything in Europe and getting clients online from the Europe, because, for example, people in the USA, you can easily get clients from the UK, because if you're on the East Coast, then you're 5 hours behind. And if you're, you know, on PST, then you're probably about 8 hours behind, which means if you're behind, you can actually help clients here. You can actually tutor clients here who like those sort of timings, you know, because they finish school over here, you know, about 4-ish. And so at 11 o'clock your time, you can tutor clients here at 4 or 5, you know, 6 o'clock, up until 8 o'clock really. Whereas your time, you're still morning in the USA. So it depends what part of the world you are, but you'll find that you can tutor children at different times. In Japan, for example, for tutors in the UK, in Japan, in the UK, when it's 10 o'clock, it's, I think, around 7 o'clock in Japan. You know, so when the students that you would normally be tutoring in the UK have gone to school, you can leverage that time. And actually, you can decide, oh, I don't want to tutor 4 to 8 at all, or I only want to tutor one person 4 to 8 and finish by 5 o'clock so I can spend some time with my family. You know, so this things is very flexible. In Dubai is about 2 hours ahead of the UK. So even are they ahead or behind? I can't remember which way around now, but you know, you get the idea of what I'm trying to say is that you can tutor children or students, whatever age they are, at whatever convenient times it is for them, and you can choose what the countries, and you have enough choices. You can choose enough. You can choose countries where you know that when you're in the morning in your country, they are in the evening and are ready for tutoring. You know, and there are loads of them everywhere. I mean, children in Asia, for example, they never rest. A lot of them, they're quite big in education over there as well. Even in some parts of Africa, and people can afford to pay for tutoring, for good tutoring. So then the key would be then you selling yourself not only on your website. It is great and important for you to sell yourself on your website. And it's important to have a website presence. And one of the things that we're actually going to be doing in our coaching course is actually creating websites for our clients, because we do have an in-house website developer, and he's quite good. I mean, we have my website. Well, my website for the product that I created. It's racetoinfinity.com, and we have 2 other websites as well. And of similar standard. So you can see what's been created on there, and you can expect that sort of standard. And so, if you can have a blog too would be great, so that people can have a look at your website. Parents can have a look at your website and sort of see, what sort of person are you? What sort of person is Grace? What are her thoughts? What does she think about people? What's her philosophy in life? What does she think of students? It's just a place where you can put information on there, and they can go and just see it anytime. So if I wanted to have a quick look, if I saw your advert on Facebook, and even if I signed up for your lead magnet or not, I could still want to find out some more information about you, and I could go to your website quite easily, just see what you're about. And don't forget, when you send that email, the email that contains your lead magnet, when it goes to the customer, to the potential client, when it gets there, then they can actually see what domain it's come from. And a lot of them will go to that website to go and see what's there, which is why you should, have a website. Even if it's one page, you should have a website presence, and you can do it yourself. You can create it on WordPress. So anyway, I'll come to tools in a minute. I'll talk about tools in a minute, but you can actually create it yourself, or you can have it done very nicely by our developer if you want to, and we can certainly arrange that for you. So, let me know. You can drop me an email or chat, or, or in the group, and let me know what you want. We're going to launch the course. Once we finish the beta, then we're going to, do all the videos for the course up front, and before we actually launch it. So then, what are your values? Your values are very important to put on your website as well. So you should actually have somewhere that says our values, because that sells you a little bit more, and a lot of tutors wouldn't have that. So again, it makes you stand out even more with your website. I want to quickly get on to the next thing. And of course, I mentioned earlier that you need to talk about who you are, what you are about, what your experience is. Your website builds credibility as well. How do you operate? What about assessments? How long is the assessment for? What subjects do you teach? What subjects do you teach? What subjects can you teach? What subjects do you teach? And what years and what grades as well do you teach? And also what happens after they've done the assessment, and what, how do you interpret the results? How quickly do they get the results, and what do you use those results for? So that's on the website. That's on the website topic. The right payment systems, I'll come to that when we talk about tools, actually, because that's quite easy to come across. Now, researching and analyzing what other successful tutors are doing. There are 2 things I'm going to tell you here. The first thing is there's a website called Simple Web. And when you enter a competitor's website on there, or another tutor, and you just want to check what you're doing, how they're doing well, what they're actually, it'll give you a lot of information about what their programs are, how long they've been running it for, what sort of things they're putting out there, and it's called Simple Web. And then the second, and I'll double check that, Simple Web, I believe it's Simple Web, yeah. I'm going to double check that before the end of this so that I can record that. for you. Make sure that it's the right one. And the second way to do that is that on Facebook, if you go to Facebook ad library, so if you do a search in Google for Facebook ad library, and then type in the name of that tutoring company, or the brand name of the tutor that you're trying to find out about, and you can actually see what they're doing, whether they are running ads or not running ads, and what sort of ads they're running, and how that could be useful for you. And please don't copy anyone, that's important, but it's important also for you to know what your competitors are doing. And it's not so much that in the tutoring market, it's not so much that you're competing against them. I mean, you are in a way, in a sense, but then again, there's so many kids that need tutoring. And so, there's enough for all. And the web is huge, the web is huge. And Facebook is just amazing. I was at Amazon headquarters yesterday, and today I was at a Facebook course somewhere else, and you won't believe that they are taking over. I mean, if you're not on Facebook, marketing on Facebook, then you're definitely losing out as an online tutor, because your customers are all on Facebook. And did you know that only 8% of businesses advertise on Facebook? So what do you think that is? Or what's the benefit of that for you? Because what you find is that because not many people are doing it, relatively, not many are doing it, usually because they don't know how to do it. But because not many are doing it, it gives you, well, not many in the grand scheme of things. So there are lots of online tutors, but that's still only a tiny weeny percentage when you think about all tutors generally. And then if you think about all businesses generally, only 8% of businesses, this is not just the tutoring market now, this is like of businesses altogether, only 8% of them advertise on Facebook. Yeah. And Facebook is actually the cheapest of all social media that you could possibly use. So you can advertise to Instagram from Facebook, and we can try out some stuff with Instagram too, but Facebook is the bomb. Like, you really just want to concentrate mainly on Facebook, and you can test out some stuff on Instagram. It's getting cheaper, by the way. Instagram is getting cheaper as well, but it's still not matching Facebook yet. But Facebook owns Instagram, just in case you didn't know. So it's going to get there, but it's not there yet. It's not completely there yet. So you do need Facebook. And WhatsApp is coming up as well, because I don't know if you know, but Facebook bought WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is also coming up, and the same things are going to be possible on WhatsApp as well, and on Instagram. And apparently, I just heard some statistics today as well, yesterday, that 93% of Facebook advertisers fail because they don't know how to run Facebook properly. 93%. So of that 8% I talked about earlier, 93% of that 8%, I don't know how many people are maths tutors here, but I don't know, maths, 90, or rather that love maths, 93% of those 8% of advertisers, marketing, of business advertisers actually fail with Facebook, So one thing I wanted to mention, I mentioned it on the first, when we did the first module. One thing I wanted to mention though is that there's a rule of 7 in marketing, and also in online marketing, if not more. It's probably more in online marketing, that customers need 7 touches before you actually convert them, which means they need to have had interaction with you, whether it's 7 emails in which they've actually read it and actually, digested the information and noticed that you're there, or whether it's interaction with you, them talking to you, or you talking to them, or them reading something from you, that sort of interaction. They need 7 of those touches before they convert on average. So that means you're not expecting to send them your lead magnet, your first lead magnet ever, and have them convert immediately. Some do, but only 10% of people buy things immediately on the very first touch. Only 10% do, And by the way, 30% will never buy from you. So 30% will never be your clients. 30% of people you speak to on social media. When I say speak, obviously I don't mean speak on the phone, because you're not really going to be speaking on the phone unless you are booking a client consult with them, which is another thing I'd like to go through with you guys. client console. I might do that on not next week, the following week, and then we'll close the beta. Yeah, how to run client consoles so that you can convert better, because I find that's another big problem that a lot of tutors have, you know, not being able to have client sales conversations in a way that they convert the best that they could. Because it's important to say the right things as well when you're having a client consult with a customer. But anyway, I was talking about the rule of 7, you know, so the rule of 7, it takes 7 touches. I would say 7 to 12, because some people are actually saying online it's 12 touches. But that's not so bad, right? Because again, you're going to build this whole email system that I talked about. And in there somewhere, there will be at least 12 emails that you've written out to send to them that you've done strategically up front, you know, and we're going to go through what those emails should be, what you should be telling them in there, and all that. So if we don't get there today, we'll definitely get there next week. All right. And so you can research and analyze what other successful online tutors are doing, or tutoring companies, you know, and you can look at how they're advertising and how they're getting people. Free traffic strategies, I'm going to come to when I talk about the tools, because you're initially going to start out building your free platforms is what you're going to start out with. So I'll come to that when I come to the tools in a minute. And, you know, I'm going to tell you all the things that you need to have in place before you actually spend any money on social media. I just want to make sure that we are going to cover everything else before I come to that in a bit. I've talked about the winning traffic source. That's definitely Facebook. You know, that's the best for the specific audience. Your customers are on Facebook. Whether it's local customers or international customers, they are on Facebook. Because as I know, some of the goals that some people have in this beta course is to train people who are just in their local area. I was speaking to a lady last week who lives in Chelmsford in England, Chelmsford in Essex in England. And I was telling her as well how to target people in her local area. Yeah, you know, so because she wanted clients in that local area. I think she wanted, you know, she did also want a mix of online students as well, but she wanted some in her local area as well. And that's quite doable on Facebook. And I'm going to show you all of that next week when we actually go in and log into those platforms. And I show you quite a few things that have been absolutely mind-blowing. So don't miss it. Now, it's important, and I think I have already mentioned this anyway, it's important not to go in thinking that everyone is going to sign up straight off the bat. Actually, you know, it's not something, it doesn't happen overnight. It's about building and having clients like you, know you, and eventually they'll trust you through the email marketing system that we're going to create. And the key thing in online marketing is providing value. So it's almost like giving them a lot of information for free. You're educating them. That's what marketing is about. It's not about come and buy me, come and join me immediately. I want to sell to you, because people don't really care about you. They care about themselves. They are looking for what they're going to be able to get from you. That's why they're coming to you, because they see that they can get value. So you need to give them that value even before trying to sell to them. And that's why when you do the online marketing, you start out with that lead magnet where I said you're going to give away things for free. Now, what I'd like to also tell you is where to get content. I'm going to touch on it very quickly, where to get content from. So, for example, you might be wondering what the best topics would be. And I have mentioned so far that you've been tutoring already for a while, if you have been. Now, from having been a tutor for a while, you know the things that help your parents the most, or your clients the most. What are those tips that help them the most? You can put that together in a PDF or in a video. You can do 4 short 5-minute videos and put them together. And I'll tell you what platforms to put those on. And you can get those ready for your lead magnet. And you should really do that between this week and next week, you know. Get your titles. If you're not sure of titles, you can actually run them by me. I don't mind actually providing that kind of quick support while we are doing the beta. You know, so you can send me 5 titles and I'll tell you what ones I think, from my experience, that parents would, you would know what parents would love the most, but I suppose it's more in the titles, which ones are more eye-catching titles, and because your titles would be very important, and also which ones can you present in a way that it would be tool-like. It'd be like they're getting some tools as opposed to reading a whole novel, you know. And you want your lead magnet, if it's PDF, you want it to be about just 4 or 5 pages max, so that they'll actually read it. And then what you want to do with your videos, as I said, you know, 5 to 7 minute videos, and you can make 4 of them so that it has a bit more value, and you can split what you're saying across those. So it could be 4 tips or 5 tips. You could do 1 tip each for each of those videos. Make sure you're smiling lots, good background, good lighting. It's always nice if you can get like an office environment. It's even nicer, and you could do that in your house. You know, what I could do with where I am is put a chair behind the sofa, because this is already on the table, and it's normally nice if you have flower or something in the background, or you know, some kind of painting that's not distracting, you know. And my background, I mean, this is a bit of course, that's why I haven't bothered too much about putting up, you know, big stands and, you know, backgrounds and things like that. But this could be a lot nicer. This could be a lot nicer. If I'd done it on the other part of this room, it'd be nicer, because then I can put the flowers right beside there and all that. So you do want a background that's neat enough, and you know, and this sort of background is okay as well for your lead magnet. It's okay, but it just could be better if you can get maybe flowers and put them in a corner, you know, and a proper chair could be better as well. And I've told you about the power of automation. Referral system, that's all going to be built into your emails. So you can ask them to refer you to other clients, and you can provide a link for that on your landing pages. And we're going to go through what landing pages are all about. So it will just be like a web page where you can call it the referral system web page, and you can offer them, you know, say a certain amount, you know, maybe a voucher or something. You can give them a $20 Amazon voucher for everyone that they refer to you that takes on your lessons, tutoring services. Or you could offer them a free lesson for themselves when they get you somebody who's starting with you, or who has actually started. Make sure you don't give the gift until they've actually started. So you don't do it just for referrals. You do it for referrals that actually take up lessons with you. And that would encourage them to give you more referrals, and you can build that all into the email that you're going to be writing to them. And we've been through this last week about the emails anyway. No, first week, I think, yeah. And I think last week as well. Now, if you're doing, obviously, if you're planning to have group sessions, it's even better, because it means that you can leverage further, so you can keep a mix of one-to-one clients and group sessions, or you can just stick to just group sessions, or you might want to do one-to-one only. It would depend on what you prefer. But obviously with a group session, it's actually one that's easy to do. And actually you have an example of what a group session is, you know, like the beta course, for example. We only took on 5-6 people for the beta course on purpose, and whatever people miss it, every week we would send them the recording. So if you had a group session on, you would use something like Zoom. Zoom is better than Skype. Now I'm getting to the tools that you need. So you're going to need Zoom. I prefer Zoom to Skype because it's more reliable. It has so many other tools. It's great. And you know what? It has a free version and a paid version. So you can use a free version. And if you have more than 3 people on, then it would only allow you to run each session for 45 minutes, not more, if you're using the free version. And you would not have a whiteboard with it, so you'd need to have a physical board like I've got beside me here. When you use a paid version of Zoom, you can use a whiteboard like I used it last week, a digital whiteboard, and you can write on there and your students can see it. You can actually take control of their mouse if you wanted to show them something, you know, the mouse on their computer. You can do that. And you can decide whose mouse you're taking control of. And you can also, I mean, there's just so many other things. You can annotate things in Zoom, but that's the paid version. It's about £43 a month for the paid version, but you can use this. I would also always recommend to use a free version initially. You can definitely do a lot with it. And what you can also do, you can get a camera. There's a HD Hue camera, HUE Hue camera, and that's actually quite good for reading. So if you're an English tutor, literacy tutor, or other things that or other subjects where you have to read, for example, biology, you could have that camera. You'd be reading, and the student too would be able to see what you're reading, and it wouldn't look like it looks in the mirror. It would look like they're reading in front of you, that you're both reading the same thing. They would see the same thing that you put in front of them the right way. So that's what you can do. You can also get that camera on top and put it on your laptop or on your normal computer as well. So Zoom instead of Skype. If you're running, obviously lessons, tutoring could be 1 hour or 2 hours. If you're using the free one, the only thing is having to cut off after 45 minutes if you've got more than 3 people. If you've got a group session of just 3 people, then it's fine. It would run past 45 minutes and run to an hour. If you've got 3 or more, no, if you've got more, I think it's more than 3. If you've got more than 3, but you'll see anyway when you sign up for Zoom, you'll see, it'll tell you how many people on there, but it's 3 people, I believe. You know, if you have more than 1, then you might have to, it is a bit unprofessional to say you're going to cut it in between and send them another link, or you could do it as a break thing. You could say, I don't know if you normally, you know, if it's a 1 hour session, then it's quite difficult to say you're having a break. But if it's a 2 hour session, then a 5-minute toilet break for everyone is in order, or a 1.5 hour session is exactly, that would be perfect if you've got more than 3 people, because then you can cut off at 45 minutes and then come back on 5 minutes later and send them, you know, another link in between. So you send them 2 links for what you're going to need each time. But it's always nicer, definitely, as you know, and safer and wiser to get the paid version if you're going to be doing group sessions for more than 3 people, so that you can run for a whole hour through, or 1.5 hours through, or 2 hours through, or whatever the number of hours that you've signed the students up for is. Video marketing is big because it just lets the parents see who you are. It lets them assess who you are. So they're looking at you and go, do I want this person to teach my child? Because that's as close as you can get to actually seeing each other face to face. Before you, well, in some cases, especially if you're doing online tutoring, that's as close as you can get. Because if they're in Japan and you're in US or you're in England, then obviously you're not going to see each other face to face. It would have to be, you know, on Zoom, you know. But I think that you can still judge. I can judge. A lot of parents can judge well enough when they see a tutor on video, and you're watching me on video now, so you can start to get an idea, start to get a feel of who I am and the sort of ways that I behave and the things that I do, and my mannerism and my behavior, and how I relate to people, you know. And also that therein lies making a positive first impression. If it's an total online thing, and there isn't a local aspect to it where you're marketing online for local clients, for example, and even if you're marketing online for local clients, your calls could be Zoom calls, it could be Zoom video calls. On Zoom, by the way, you can do just audio, or you can just do phone calls for your client consults or client calls, because obviously at some point, the parent needs to speak to you to know what you're about to, you know, how else do you talk about things, you know. So you can either speak, or you can even suggest video, because then you can see each other actually. And if they're local, you can meet up or have them come over, or you can go to them. And if it's totally online, then I definitely always suggest Zoom. And especially when you're speaking to parents who are from a different country where English isn't the first language, the Zoom is definitely best. Zoom video, because you can sometimes lip read it if you can't hear what they're saying, for example, on time, or if they have a different accent that or vice versa, and they too can probably read your lips a little bit more than maybe hear some of the things that you're saying. Potentially, you never know. It depends where they're from, and you know what kind of disposition they have to different accents, because it's a global world nowadays. It's an international world, you know. So I'm going to quickly go into the tools that we're going to need. Gosh, it's almost 10 more minutes. And so we're gonna, and then I'll go into and then please ask questions as you go along if you've got any questions. And And so I've talked about Zoom. You're going to need Zoom. It's better than Skype. For your website, you're going to need WordPress is better. You can use Squarespace or Wix, Wix, or Squarespace. I'm going to actually see if I can write down some of these tools here. I'll move this slightly. Oops, sorry. I just don't like this board sometimes because it's quite small. I quite like using the whiteboard instead. Right, so Zoom or Skype, but I always prefer Zoom. You need a Facebook page, a Facebook business page. You need a Facebook business page. Please don't mind my writing is a bit, what's the doctor's writing. Facebook business page, you're gonna need, I recommend MailChimp. This is to manage the emails. This is where your emails are gonna be stored. When they go in, when they enter the email address on Facebook, they're gonna go to your back end and they're gonna go to your email marketing software. MailChimp is free as well. As long as you have under 2,000 contacts, so that's 2,000 emails, you know, so MailChimp you can set up freely. You can use Aweber though, is another option, and Get Response, Get Response, let's write that properly. Get Response is another. Get Response. And so you could use any of those. There are other ones like Infusionsoft, but those are quite complicated to use. They're very good though. An Active Campaign, they're very good, but they are quite complicated to use. But they cover everything. But for tutoring, we don't need that much. You know, I've actually I've had Infusionsoft twice before. Both for over a year each, you know, but it's really robust, which is great, but it's just too robust for my needs and probably for your needs as well, you know. And then so that's just one of the options that you could use here. You don't need it. Active Campaign, you don't really need it. It has a lot of automation in it, and we just want to start out basic so that you just initially know what you need to do to actually start getting leads online. So we'll keep it simple. I would just say MailChimp. WordPress for your website. It's important to have a website, even if it's one page. WordPress, but as I said, you could also use Wix, or you could use Squarespace, and it's relatively easy to start up all of this. Okay, that third one was Squarespace. You're going to need a hosting domain. You can use GoDaddy, so it's a hosting, a web hosting company, and you're going to need a domain company. You can use the same one if you want. So I've used 123reg. I've used 1&1, which is now called Ionos, IONOS, and GoDaddy is really big as well in the US, so I would say you can use GoDaddy or HostGator. I actually use HostGator now. Okay, and then payment systems, Stripe or PayPal, but Stripe is best because they're more flexible, plus you can actually take payments from a customer over the phone, so you can have them read out the credit card to you and you can enter it into Stripe. Stripe is also free, but they charge you for, when they take out the payments, they charge a little percentage for actually, before they remit that payment to your account. So that's Stripe, and you can set up recurring payments in Stripe as well. You can set up recurring payments in PayPal as well. But the good thing about Stripe is you can actually just take card payments and enter it, or you can build a page, and you can build a page for PayPal as well. where they can, where customers can go in and enter the details and actually pay. Now, all of this you can learn. I promise you, you can go learn them yourself. I mean, in the course, when we do the coaching, what we do is we handhold you further. I mean, the coaching, we have different packs. So we're going to film all of this course. We're going to do it over 6 weeks, and it's going to be 6 modules, and then each one's going to have 6 or 7 videos in it, and it breaks down all of this a little bit more, because what I've done is I've gone through it really quickly, and I've tried to put it over 3 weeks, 4 weeks for this beta, so that you can actually get the basics of what you need. But on the course, we're going to go into it in depth further. Our courses are $495, and the one-on-one coaching arm with it is actually $2,500. But that you get a website with that, unless you want to, or you can ask us to also create your website on its own as well. That's also separate. So the website itself is £1,200, but the web developer has said, because I did ask him for the first few people that would want to set up a website through us, and he's quite willing to do that at $997, which is very cheap for a solid website. Have a look at riskinfinity.com and you can see our own website, well, one of our websites. So all of this, bar none, you can actually sit down and learn by yourself. Like, there's loads of information. Like, literally, you know, if you go to somewhere like Google, yeah, there's a website called Google, and you type in how to use Zoom, how to use Skype, any of these things, you know, there'll be a lot of information on there, so you can get it up and running yourself. But what coaching does, and what our course does, well, the course is different from coaching on top of our course, but the coaching is one-on-one coaching, so you get a weekly call, which is one-on-one, helping you to accomplish a lot of the things that you're doing, and actually going through it with you, and telling you to click here and click there, and, you know, more like supporting you through if you've got any problems, and, you know, all that. You also get an emergency call number and things like that. But so that's the course at 2,500, and sorry, that's the coaching on top of the course at 2,500, which includes the course in it as well. And then the course on its own is 495, and what it does is it's go through all of these things with you. So it's almost like a, you know, screen showing you, click this and click that, and do this and do that, you know. Next week I'm going to go through it really quickly as well with you, just to show you some things very quickly. But I promise you can learn this on your own. It's just a bit more, it's just a little bit more hassle and a bit more time. And it depends whether you are somebody who considers yourself techie or not techie. But it's honestly doable for everyone if you want to do it yourself. So that's why you've got everything that you need to go and actually, you know, set up. Here you're going to need some content generation sites. You don't need this actually, but you, or content ideas generation, you know, content ideas generation. It's not that you need it, because you might already know what it is that makes your parents tick or your client tick, which you can put together in a lead magnet. But what's helpful is if you're not sure what things you can create and you're looking for ideas, then you can use some of the content idea generation sites. So there's one called contentideageneration.com. There's another one, BuzzSumo is quite good, BuzzSumo, which is BUZZ, Sumo. And it tells you like what's trending. So if you go there and enter education, or, you know, or a certain subject, it'll tell you what's trending in there. BuzzSumo. I hope that's clear, BuzzSumo. And then you can also go online to a site called answerthepublic.com, and that's literally people who go in there to ask questions about what you might want to do at time. So about what they need to do, or what they want to ask questions about at time. So all of this, you can just take all of this and go and set up and use. So these are the tools that you mainly need to get you started. For the Facebook business page, the adverts part of it, the adverts is part of the business page. Well, I've kind of put everything on Facebook, But once you create the Facebook business page, we'll go through the ad manager. There's something called the ads manager. There's another button on there called the boost button. And actually the boost button, if you want to get and convert clients, don't use boost, because boost doesn't tell Facebook what you actually need, that you're looking for clients that you want to convert. And it doesn't tell them what kind of clients and what kind of tutoring parents that you're looking for. Because remember, it's parents that you're looking for online, because they're the ones who are going to pay. So that's actually your customer. That's your client. You know, your student is the end user, but your parent is the client. The parent is your customer. So, but I'm going to, so next week we're going to log into some of this, not all of them, because we've already started, we've been using Zoom. So you can just install that on your platform. So again, between now and next week, what I need you to do is install all of these things. Install Zoom, the free version, set up your Facebook business page, and MailChimp as well. Register for MailChimp. Just see if you want to play around with them, if you've got some time. WordPress for your website, if you haven't already got a website. Many tutors already have their website. If you haven't already got it, and if you've got it, have a look at it and see what things are missing from the things that I've mentioned that you can add to it. Get your domain name. Get a domain name for whatever you want to call your website. Or, but if you already have that, then that's great. You would already have a hosting company. If you haven't created the website itself, then you need that website hosted by a company, even after you have a domain name. But the same company usually can do that for you. So the hosting company can do that. Then the Stripes, register for Stripe. I prefer Stripe to PayPal, but I've used both, but I prefer Stripe to PayPal, just a little bit more, less cumbersome. And then you can have a look at the content ideas generations, especially if you're not sure of what your lead magnet should be. I'd say come up with 5 ideas of what your lead magnet, what you want your lead magnet to be. If you're sure already of what it is, you can drop me a line. I can have a look at it for you. If you're not sure, you can still come up with 5. So if you come up with all of these things, but send me your lead generation, send me your lead magnet ideas if you want, and I'll have a look at it for you and give you some feedback on that. And with the rest of it, get it all set up. Next week, we're going to go through some stuff on this, and well, I'll share screens and we'll go through them. All right, so it's 8:32. Let me just check whether there's anything else. I'm trying not to run over today, just because I know your time's precious, so you can go and do the things that you need to do. Don't want to take too much of your time. 3 point. All right, yeah, your mini plan. Your mini plan now, that's to do with your, so on social media, it's quite important for you to be posting on that Facebook page, because if you have a Facebook page and there's absolutely nothing on it, because you're going to be marketing, your advert is going to be linked to your Facebook page. So people can see your Facebook page, they can see who's advertising on there. And so, so it's important that you're posting on your Facebook page, and they could just be little posts just saying, you're so excited today, I've got 3 students coming to me, or I'm so excited. If you're still teaching, you can talk about school, or you can talk about the children who are doing their exams. Good luck to all the parents. Make sure you get a few likes on your page first when you set up your business page, if you don't already have it. Get a few likes from friends and family. So on your business page, when you set it up, there's a part of that business page too that says, invite people to like your page, and then Facebook would allow you to send that to all your friends, and it's not just a few clicks. You don't have to send it to every single friend. So you don't have to you don't have to click for every single friend. You can just press a button and they'll send it to all your friends for you. Your personal Facebook friends, that is, and they can like your page. So you have a few likes on there. And make sure you populate that page with some posts, 5, 6 posts. And do tell your friends to try to keep it super engaged for the first sort of, when you're starting it out. So you want them to like your stuff and things like that, just because it will linked to your adverts in the end. And so that's it. I don't know if there are any questions that I could answer before we go. All right, I mentioned about the messenger bots. Messenger bots. This is a way to communicate with your customers further. So when you're doing adverts, I'll show you as well next week. When you're doing adverts on Facebook, you not only you can advertise for emails, but you can also advertise for messenger messenger leads, which means they're going to go straight to your Facebook Messenger, where you can actually start communicating with them. And it's great because it's personal. It's almost like a two-way traffic, unlike email, which is almost like a one-way thing, because it's a bit less personal, isn't it? Whereas Facebook Messenger is a bit like WhatsApp. It's more personal. So it has very high percentage of open rates, where emails have 10 to 20% open rates, roughly. WhatsApp, and especially Facebook Messenger, they have very high WhatsApp open rates. Like Facebook Messenger, you're expecting like 90-something% open rates when you send them something. So whether it's value that you've sent them, some information about what they can do with their child, some tips, or it could be you're trying to sell them something, but make sure that you provide value first, value, before you even try to sell anything or try to convert them. But of course, they will know through the emails that you've set up that you're a tutor. They will already know that. So they know that every tutor is, of course, looking for students, because why else would you be marketing on Facebook? So they know that already. So you don't need to immediately start saying, I want to convert you to being a tutor. I want to offer you packages. You will in the end, but you want to send a few emails first. And those emails, as I said, we're going to write them up front. So I'll tell you what titles that you should put into them. And maybe I'll go through mine and read some of mine to you as well. Some of my emails that I set up that worked very well for me, and still working. And I don't sell anything until about email 5 is when I start offering them, some of my products and things like that. And and even with not selling anything, as I said, I've never tried to sell them one-on-one tutoring, and I've had several emails asking me that can I tutor their child and what programs do I have to tutor their child. Their parents reply me and they say, I want my child to be confident in maths like you are. How can I make my child confident like you are? I want my child to be like you. And what programs do you have? What can you help my child with? I want to make a note of that so that I can actually get some screenshots. I can show you some screenshots, because there is a way to actually connect Zoom to phone as well. But I'll actually just make a note of screenshots from parent inquiries. Yeah, I can show you like a couple of screenshots from mine, even though I didn't try to sell that particular service to them at all. So how much more yourself, who can sell those services after you've sent them some emails and actually after they started to like you and trust you and know you. So there's no end to what we can achieve with this. All right, so I'm gonna love you all and leave you and let you go. I literally don't even know how many people are watching me or not, because I'm not sure what's happened with both Zoom platforms, because I had 2 of them open at the same time, so I'm not actually sure. But the good thing is this is recorded as well. So look forward to seeing you next week, and I'm going to sign off for now. And any other questions, just drop me a line. All right, so ta-ra. Bye, everyone. See you next week.